Hello, everyone, and welcome to the YouTube channel AMC Lawsuit and Justice. My name is Ethan, and today we're publishing video number 17 in the Daniel Meyer Transmittal Affidavit series. Video number 17 will cover the timeline from July 22nd, 2022 through July 28th, 2022. In this video, we will cover exhibits 22 and 26. So let's begin. In video number 3, I directed your attention to April 20th, 2023. Once again, April 20th, 2023. We went out of sequence so we could address a meet-and-greet event in San Diego, California at AMC La Jolla. At that event, Adam Aron addressed the gathered retail investors, reflecting on the events of Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. Today we're going to focus on July 22nd, 2022, so we're still in sequence and within the timeline, at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where Adam Aron held another meet-and-greet event at AMC River East 21st in Chicago, Illinois, for a special screening of the movie Nope. Before the movie started, Adam Aron once again addressed the AMC stockholders in the crowd. 7 minutes into this monologue, Adam Aron once again discussed the events of January 27th, 2021. It will sound redundant, but let's have a listen. While you're listening, I will ask the same question I posed in video number 3. How many shares were outstanding on January 27th, 2021? The 100 million shares Adam Aron claims, or a little over 400 million shares? So let's have a listen.
$500 million here, $700 million here. We just kept raising money. And we dodged the bullet over and over. And in January of 2021, we raised $1.2 billion. And finally, that was enough that we knew that we could make it. So that was miracle 1. Miracle 2, we put out a press release on Monday, January 25 of 2021 that said we made it. We raised $1 billion and bankruptcy's off the table and we're fine. Tuesday night, around 6 o'clock in after hours trading, apes arrived. And our stock started to explode. And on the Wednesday, January 27th of last year, our stock went from $5 a share to $20 a share in one day. And we traded on the New York Stock Exchange more shares than I know how to count. At the time, we had 100 million shares outstanding. Total share count. And 50 million of them were in the pocket of one large institutional holder who was not trading stock. So we really only had 50 million shares that traded. On that one day, that day that our stock quadrupled, that one day, we traded 1,250,000,000 shares in a day. We only had 50 million shares that traded at all. And they turned over like 25 times. That's like every 15 minutes, the whole shareholder base of the company is a new shareholder base of the company.
So in video 3, we went over this Excel sheet. I highly recommend you, if you haven't watched video 3, I'm just going to show this Excel sheet one more time, go over it quickly. But in this Excel sheet, we showed that the charter for AMC could issue up to 524 million shares. That on August of 2020, there were 109 million shares outstanding, incorporating Common A and Common B, with a little over 57 million in Common A and a little over 51 million in Common B. And this reflected Wanda's stake in AMC. Then we went over all the ATMs that were done in the year 2020. And then we went over these ATMs, and if you calculate and you add up all these ATMs from September of 2020 up to January 27th of 2021, it'll come out to a little over 400 million shares. So why did Adam Aron continue to push this narrative that there were 100 million shares outstanding on January 27th, 2021? Let's continue. And once again, On July 26, 2022, Sequoia Blackwood once again appears and messages Adam Aron and says, Brian messaged Adam Aron and said, a porn site just reached out to me looking for the pics. Now, for those who are just watching this video the first time, this video, and haven't watched the series, we're getting this information with regards to the scandal or Techsgate with Adam Aron and Sequoia Blackwood from the memorandum, sentencing memorandum with regards to Sequoia Blackwood when she was sentenced and convicted and sentenced. And if you want to find this document, you could do, once again, a search on Google, Sequoia Blackwood, and type in sentencing memorandum, and it'll pop up. All right, and then we're now going to get to Exhibit 22. So on July 27th of 2022, Adam Aron emailed the AMC board and copied Sean Goodman, Kevin Connor, and himself, touting the APEs as, and let's just go straight to the document, the exhibit. And this is the Daniel Meyer Transmittal Affidavit. If anybody wants to download it, go to Google or Yahoo or DuckDuckGo, type in Daniel Meyer Transmittal Affidavit, May 4th, 2023, and 5 websites should populate and still have this document, including AMC. So let's go now to Exhibit 22. Oops, sorry. Page 834. 834. All right, so this is Exhibit 22. Let's scroll down. All right, and here you'll see the email. You'll see who's it's from, Adam Aron, the date, Wednesday, July 27th, 2022, at 8:05 a.m. He sends it to the board. You got Lee Whittlinger, Kathleen Paulus, Gary Locke, Hawk Koch, Philip Lader, Adam Sussman, Tony Anthony Sach, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name, Kevin Connor, which is or once General Counsel, Sean Goodman, David Zhang, I wonder why he was CC'd, and then Adam Aron. And the subject is stock dividend messaging, current program and draft. So he cites, he invokes attorney-client privilege. As indicated to you in one of my prior emails, I believe the preferred equity dividend issuance will be the single most impactful action that AMC will take in all of calendar year 2022. If we succeed, we will have a new currency, 1, to help us pay down debt, 2, used to grow EBITDA and enhance our strategic position through M&A, and 3, above all else, to allow us to raise more cash to avoid any future liquidity traps. Accordingly, given the importance, I wanted you to see the currently contemplated public communication strategy and messaging. In addition to appearances on CNBC and CNBC and or Fox Business News and other print media interviews, we will put out a press release, an 8-K filing, and an open letter to all AMC Entertainment shareholders, which are still being drafted. We also will offer gratis an I own ape NFT to our shareholders, which complements the highly coveted I own AMC NFT we issued earlier this year. And that's the NFT. Then he has this in there. And then he says, in addition, I will launch a Twitter storm, a series of 9 tweets issued in order simultaneously. They will get staggering readership in the millions. Once again, this is how cocky he is. They will get staggering readership in the millions. The first tweet will have attached to it the open letter to all AMC Entertainment shareholders. While that is still in the final draft, it will explain what is happening and why, without any length limit, it will carry whatever legal boilerplate counsel advises. As a precursor to your seeing the draft tweets, our lawyers will sign off on whatever we issue. Our lawyers will sign off on whatever we issue. If any feel terse, note that each is already as long as Twitter allows. There are very strict length limits imposed on tweeting by Twitter. We basically cannot add even a word to most of these. Also, you will see that the hashtag #TodayWePounce is in all of 9. Sorry, pounce is the word our shareholders have coined in public discourse to describe whatever large action AMC will take to bolster our position. Every single day for several months now, I have received hundreds, if not thousands, of inbound messages asking about how or when we will pounce, quote unquote pounce. And finally, our shareholders are varying levels of sophistication. We do need to explain what we are doing in the simplest of language. Many subscribe to conspiracy theories, which these tweets will delicately address, and most are opposed to share dilution as they feel dilution strengthens the hands of short sellers. They are still widely mistaken in that view, but that is what they think, so we will need to address the topic as a result. Here are the tweets, and it's privilege, it's not shown, and then Adam Aron concludes. So let's just go over this email again. I mean, not email, it actually is an email. It was communications between AMC board. So things that stood out for me. And let's go down here, sorry. One is our lawyers will sign off on whatever we issue. Second, many people have asked why did he use pounce? He incorporates it because he said that there were thousands of us sending tweets. When do we pounce? And this is how he addresses it. Also, you will see that the hashtag today we pounce is in all 9. Pounce is the word our shareholders have coined in public discourse to describe whatever large actions AMC will take to bolster our position. Every single day for several months now, I have received hundreds, if not thousands, of inbound messages asking about how or when we will pounce. And then the next thing that's concerning, many subscribe to conspiracy theories, which these tweets will delicately address, and most are opposed to share dilution as they feel dilution strengthens the hands of short sellers. They are widely mistaken in that view, but that is what they think, so we need to address the topic as a result. And here are the tweets. So imagine, those 3 things stood out to me. All right, let's continue. So on July 28th of 2022, the AMC board and Adam Aron took its first steps in thwarting the AMC stockholder franchise by diluting the common stock through an abusive blank check preferred stock issuance via an ATM. At an AMC board meeting that day, Adam Aron indicated that AMC needed to raise more capital but was out of common shares. He mentioned visiting with a 1980s financier that explained that AMC arranging for a second currency could be the most transformative, even more so than issuing a dividend. Let's go to paragraph 5. Adam Aron also noted that AMC had 50 million shares of preferred stock and that by employing a 100-to-1 gearing concept, the company could issue 1 preferred equity unit for each of the company's 517 million common shares outstanding. The AMC board also discussed concerns it had regarding the response of retail investors to the proposed dividend, with Kathleen Paulus noting that the retail shareholders had historically expressed concerns about dilution and inquiring how company planned to address those concerns. So there was one board member that brought up, retail is annoyed. I mean, they don't want dilution. How are we going to address it? Anyway, the AMC board did discuss how it could handle that question with candor, including through tweets and with social media, recognizing that should companies subsequently pursue ATM offerings, that those offerings would be dilutive. Given the company's public description of APE and the deposit agreement, the desire to be candid appears to have been more aspirational than actual. Also at the meeting, the AMC board and Adam Aron also reviewed an updated presentation prepared by Citigroup, which included an overview of the preferred stock and APE dividend. At the end of the meeting, the AMC board and Adam Aron then adopted resolution implementing the preferred stock and APE. Paragraph 10. The AMC board and Adam Aron created the new form of preferred stock and authorized 10 million such shares. Each share of the preferred stock carries voting rights equal to 100 shares of common stock and automatically converts into 100 shares of common stock upon shareholder approval of an amendment to the certificate to increase the total number of common stock shares authorized sufficient to permit the conversion and the filing of such an amendment with the Office of the Secretary of State of the State of Delaware. Then the AMC board and Adam Aron also approved a preferred stock dividend to be issued on each outstanding share of common stock in the form of APEs, which were depository shares, each representing 1/100th interest of a share of preferred stock. Each APE has voting rights equal to 1 share of common stock and is convertible into 1 share of common stock if stockholders approve an increase to the total number of shares of common stock authorized under the certificate. Finally, the AMC board and Adam Aron authorized the company to enter into the deposit agreement with Computershare, where Computershare would act as the depository of the APEs under the terms of the depository agreement in connection with any stockholder vote at which holders of preferred stock are entitled to vote. Computershare would vote shares of preferred stock as instructed by their holders. However, with respect to APEs, and by extension preferred stock, that are not present or for which voting instructions are not given, which otherwise would be treated as broker non-votes, Computershare will vote those units proportionally in the same manner as APE units for which holders do give specific voting instructions. This is key. If you need to go over it, rewind and listen to it again. And for those who don't know, who is Computershare? Look that up. Let's continue. Paragraph 13. In other words, while absentee and uninstructed common shares are effectively negative votes in the context of any amendment of the certificate requiring a majority of all outstanding shares to pass, the mirror voting feature in the deposit agreement will turn absentee and uninstructed APEs into votes proportional to the actual votes cast, regardless of whether shares of common stock would be voted on the same proposal absent the receipt of instructions from the beneficial holders. Thus, as long as more APEs vote for a charter amendment than against it, the proposal will be far more likely and perhaps assured to pass. The agreement was executed on August 4th, 2022. The mirrored voting procedure for shares of preferred stock corresponding to absentee and uninstructed APEs were not specifically disclosed to AMC stockholders who would have had to painstakingly search through the deposit agreement to find them. Nor did AMC's disclosure instruct common stockholders to hold onto the APE units to protect themselves from the dilution that would come from aggressive APE issuance followed by an effort to massively alter AMC's authorized share count. On July 28, 2022, at 2:58 p.m., John Meyer drafted an email with the subject titled Shareholder Voting Info and the email addressed to Eddie Goldbach stating, now this is Exhibit 26. All right, and this is key. All right, so this is, you'll see Exhibit 26. Now, if you recall, I think it's video 5. We went over the voting. Actually, I think it's video 6. We went over the voting with regards to May 4th of 2021, July 29th of 2021, and then we played a video of Adam Aron being interviewed on Yahoo Finance. And if you guys recall, Adam Aron said, yeah, the vote was running favorably, but I pulled it. If you get a chance, pull up that video and watch it again, and then come back to this, Exhibit 26. So, once again, Adam Aron said the voting was running favorably. But the question is, what does the internal AMC emails actually show? And this is what Exhibit 26 will address. All right, so, sorry. To show you, it's just one page. And it runs bottom up. So John Merriweather writes once again to Eddie Goldbach on Thursday, July 28th, 2022 at 2:58 p.m. And the subject is shareholder voting info. And he says, and Eddie Goldbach is in-house counsel. So John Merriweather runs investor relations. So John writes to Eddie. He says, "Hey Eddie, Sean is the CFO. Sean is looking for voting data for when we were trying to get shares authorized. I know Jeffrey Weinberg is no longer with DF King, but I was wondering if you would happen to have voting results on authorization. He's trying to see if those that voted were they voting yes for the authorization? My recollection was that they were not. And I will also look back in my emails to see what I could find. Thanks, John." And then Eddie Goldbach wrote with the attachments. It's the July 29th, 2021 vote. And this appears to be the last tally before we pull the proposal for the second meeting. Similar outcomes to the first time, Eddie. So it was not running favorably. Yet Adam Aron on Yahoo during the interview says it was running favorably and he pulled it. Once again, he's caught in a lie. So let's continue. And that's actually it for today. What's it called? Video number 18 will be probably published sometime the end of the week. Hopefully you enjoyed video 17 and have watched every video. They run in sequence. It's important that you watch it in sequence because, as you saw today, there were a couple instances where we revert back to it and cite it, and it's important that you look to see and retain what you saw so you can understand what's going on in the future. So once again, hopefully you enjoyed it, and video number 18 should be published sometime this week.